Yeah. So, hi Kinga, how are you doing? Okay. So a lot of my friends have joined us. We're just gonna wait for some more people to join us,
No
and
problem.
then we'll start chatting. But I'm gonna lay out the agenda. Like, I'd like to talk about your single,
Yes.
and then the trouble that you had, promoting it on, on Spotify and all the rigmarole. And a lot of people could, relate to that.
Of course.
Then I'd like to get into the broader subject of, I guess, where the music industry is now and where it's headed. And you read that excerpt from the New York Times when they interviewed David Bowie back in 2002.
Yes.
It's amazing how accurate he was in his prognosis of the future of the music industry, isn't it? It's scary.
He nailed
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
he did. He did. Um, Great to see you, Kinga. Yeah, it's great to see you as well. Um, okay, so I think we have enough people here. We have 6 people here, so I think that's enough to get going on this. So your single, when I first heard it, it reminds me of Diana Ross, her solo stuff in the
Oh,
1970s, because you got
wow.
a kind of a Diana Ross type voice. And
Thank you.
like, how did you super beautiful Stephanie? Yes, she is.
Oh, that's so
Carlos.
nice. Thank you, Carlos.
So, what about the writing process? Like, is this an older song, or did you write it, or
So,
what's the background behind
yeah,
it?
this song is a few years old. I was contacted by a local Montreal producer named Sari Dejani, who's done music for film and TV, and he's like super experienced. And he contacted me and he said, "Let's work on something together." So I was like, "Oh my God, of course!" And I brought him this song, and it was like basically finished. I sent him like a demo with just me playing the piano, and I recorded my vocals. And I was waiting for him to, give me the verdict, what he thought about the song. And he called me. I was nervous. I was like, is he going to say the song is no good? But he said, "You know what, Stephanie?" He said, "You are a songwriter." And I was floored coming from someone like him. And he said, "The song is great. It's perfect. I'm just going to produce it the way it is." And he added his own like touch to the arrangement, and he added that guitar solo. It's just, I'm so happy with the
Good.
track.
Great. Okay, that's excellent. So, what's the lyrical narrative behind it?
So it's a breakup song, but it's a positive breakup song. It's like finding uh, the positive out of a bad situation and realizing that when things don't work out, it's like a form of protection. It's not meant
Mhm.
for you. You're meant for more. So that's really what the song is about. You're better off this way.
Okay. Okay. No, that's cool. That's good. So tell me or tell us about your adventures in marketing this single.
Well, Spotify, trying to get your song on playlists today is insane because everything is, you have to pay for it.
Hmm.
It's not authentic. There are curators that, will take a song for free because they actually like it or they think you're talented, and that's great. But that's a small percentage. Most of it, they're just, you have to pay. You have
Yeah.
to pay to get on a playlist. And the numbers that you see, people are paying for this stuff. You know, when they share their Spotify rap and, "Oh, look at all the numbers, the 100K streams I got." It's all fake. These
Hmm.
are fake numbers that they paid for. They're bots. I don't even know how they do it, but it's
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah. That's why I took my music off Spotify principally out of, you know, principle, because I just hate that company. They just exploit. They're just so exploitative
That's
of
what
musicians.
it
But
is. Yeah,
yeah,
unfortunately.
but the other reason really was that if you're on the platform and you release something, there's always pressure to impress people with the number of streams that you have. And if you don't get the number of streams, like if you're honest and do it honestly, and you only get 1,000 streams instead of 100,000 streams in one day, like a lot of other artists do. you know
Yeah.
it's just not a good look, even though everyone knows, most of those streams are fake, but it's just a marketing thing.
I mean,
I just got tired of
here's
it.
the thing. Do you really think that industry professionals like record label executives and all this, do you think they don't know that this stuff is fake, that people are paying for streams? Seriously, let's be real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Of course they know. Of course they know. So the numbers at the end of the day mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They mean nothing. People are wasting their money to get their numbers up for what? And where is it taking them? Where are they going?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So, for that and a few other reasons, I took my music off the Spotify, but mainly because it's exploitative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's interesting. I'm going to share with you all, you, Stephanie, and the audience, of a conversation I had just last night with a singer-songwriter who I won't name. She started her career in 2008 when she was a kid. She won a singing contest at her local radio station in Edmonton, and she actually, won a Juno Award. For those of you who are not Canadian, the Juno Award is the Canadian equivalent of a Grammy. And she was telling me that she just started, she actually had to retrain herself to enter into a corporate job, and she's the happiest she's ever been because of the peace of mind that she has now with a steady paycheck and not having to tour, because that was the only way she could make money, touring. And touring was so stressful, she told me, because, people criticize you if you're not performing well and if you don't look right. And that's not even to mention the traveling and the bad food you have to eat and the cost. And at the end of the day, after you pay everyone, you pay your crew, you pay for the hotel, the travel costs, and the food for everyone, you're not left with much money. And, she was like, I have a corporate job and so much less stress. I make more money than I did when I was touring. And, I don't have to be the boss and sign checks and all the rest of it.
Of course.
And this is a Juno Award winner, right?
I understand that. I respect that. I understand that. Of course. I mean, listen, you need something safe. You need something steady. You need a steady stream of income to live, especially nowadays with the way the economy is. You cannot live on music anymore. Not anymore. This is not like 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You can't make a living on this.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the way forward. Okay, you got like a situation where you're going to have companies like Spotify. They're going to be pushing their own music made by artificial intelligence, because, if you don't pay human artists, like if you don't have human artists, you don't have to pay like publishing royalties and songwriting royalties. They can just create their own music and promote it and keep all the money for themselves. So artists, they're not only going to be competing with human artists, they're going to be competing with artificial artists, right?
That's right.
So the only people who are actually going to be able to make a living purely on music are like the 1% of the top 1% artists. It's going to be even worse than it is now. So I think the way forward for a lot of artists is that even the successful artists, the ostensibly successful artists, they're going to have a day job, right?
That's right. AI is going to destroy everything.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to everybody, but AI is going to destroy everything.
Yeah, yeah. So anyways, there's a financial motive for a company like Spotify to push their own music created by artificial intelligence. And I think that's the way forward. I was telling this girl who I was chatting with that, I think the way forward for most artists is they're going to be like you. They have a corporate job and they're going to still be doing music and they're going to be still, releasing singles. And if they get enough streams, they'll have a nice, side income from streaming, but it's not going to be the main source of income.
I think the important thing is if you're getting into music, you should be doing this because it's a passion, because it's something you respect and you love, and you really want to put, your best music out there, your best foot forward. Mm-hmm. You're not, hopefully nobody is doing this today just for fame and fortune, because it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And, what I tell people, I don't know, some younger people, they kind of approach me and ask me what they should do. They're thinking about, like a friend of mine who I made through Instagram, who I won't name. He approached me a year ago, and he was kind of like mulling whether he should go get an engineering degree at a state university in the US or go into music, and he was really passionate about music.
Get
And
the
I told him,
engineering degree.
yeah, get the engineering degree. It's a form of insurance. It's a form of insurance. You get that piece of paper first, then you could go pursue your music career, but it's a fallback. And I guess the one way to explain it is this. Like, for all of you out there who are watching this, imagine, and you as well, Stephanie, imagine if you have a teenage kid, he or she comes up to you and says, Mom, after I finish high school, I want to pursue music full time. Okay. Most parents would be a bit worried, but they might say, okay, you know what, just go for it. You're only young once. Now, imagine if that kid came up to you and said, Mom, I'm thinking about, after finishing school, I'm not going to go to college or technical school. I'm going to basically buy lottery tickets for the rest of my life and hope to win. I'm just going to get a job, being a waiter or a bartender, so I could basically invest my money buying lottery tickets. It's essentially the same thing.
It's the same thing.
If someone told you that, yeah, if your kid came up and told you that, you'd say, are you fucking crazy?
If I had a son or daughter today and they came up to me and said, I want to pursue a career in music, I mean, if they were truly, truly talented, okay, truly talented, I would say you're talented. You know what? Do both. Do not choose just music. Do both. Knowing everything I know, everything I have seen in this industry. I've been in this industry for over 20 years. I have seen some things. This is a difficult business. It's corrupt. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this business.
So let's talk about your personal experiences. Let's share your personal experiences in the music business for the past 20 years with this audience, particularly the younger kids who are like thinking about going into the business. Why don't you start from the beginning? When did you go into the music business? How old were you?
I started singing professionally when I was about 16 years old. I joined a lot of local bands here in Montreal. I joined a traveling band. We traveled to Hong Kong. We went to various places. Touring is awful. I can tell you that it's awful. I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed singing on stage, but I don't like the touring part. Mm-hmm. I then went to New York for a while, and then I went to Toronto. I've worked with various people. I mean, I've done a ton of auditions. I've seen it all. Thank God nothing bad ever happened to me. I was always very smart. I always had a good head on my shoulders. I was always very careful about who was around me, the things I was doing. I was always very much in control of myself. And that's really important, especially as a woman. Watch your back, watch your back. The business is not about talent. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it is not about talent. You could be the most talented singer in the world, and it doesn't matter. What matters is being at the right place at the right time, having the right contacts, what you're willing to do to get ahead in the business.
Let's talk about that aspect. So what were you asked to do to get ahead in the business? I've
met all kinds of people that, men in the business that were looking for other things rather than a professional collaboration. And that's not, I don't do that stuff. That's not me. I was not raised like that. My parents instilled serious values in me.
But I don't do that kind of stuff. Did you meet female musicians who were willing to do that though?
Of course. Yeah. A dime a dozen. A dime a dozen, and there's no judgment on anyone. You got to do what works for you in life. But at the end of the day, can you live with yourself, with your choices? Are you going to be able to look at yourself in the mirror to be able to sleep at night with your choices? That's what's important, because that kind of stuff damages you in the long run. Is it really worth it?
Yeah, particularly if you don't make it.
Yeah,
it was all for nothing.
Exactly. All you're going to be left with is emotional damage and mental damage. For what? Right.
Okay. So, and you told me once that the Montreal music scene was a bit corrupt, I guess, eh?
It's not Montreal. It's everywhere. Everywhere you go, it's corrupt. Montreal has a smaller music scene. I've met some wonderful people here in this city. Beautiful people that I've gotten the chance to work with. Really talented, really down to earth. And then there's people that, they think they're like God on earth and they're not even that talented. But this stuff is everywhere you go. So it's
Yeah.
not just Montreal, it's literally everywhere. This is the music business. That's what it is, no matter where you go.
Yeah. 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 Okay. I'm going to ask for the audience to chime in with their thoughts about the music business. So, guys, you heard us talk about our thoughts about the music business. What are your thoughts? Maybe you could just type in some comments and we could share them with the rest. Trisha, are you still there? Maybe you could type something. Or we could just talk. We could
I
just
think
continue
everyone
talking.
is so shocked at by how honest I am. People are in a state of shock. No one is saying anything.
Okay, so Trisha, what are your thoughts? Stephanie and I will continue to. Okay. So Ahmad says Stephanie. Yeah, she is a good singer. Yeah, you got a lot of fans here, Stephanie.
Thank you. I really
Impressed.
appreciate that.
Trisha, you're at your day job. Okay, she's at her day job. She can't type anything out right now. That's understandable. Yeah. So, or anyone else who wants to kind of comment about their thoughts about the music industry, this crazy industry that we willingly submitted ourselves to. Okay, so here's my thoughts. There's kind of like three categories of people who actually have a chance of succeeding in the music business. The first category is if you're basically coming from a wealthy family or a well-connected family.
Yeah.
Someone like a Taylor Swift, who's, I love Taylor Swift, but let's face it, her father her parents work in the financial industry. Her father had basically invested $300,000 into her first record label for a 1% stake in what was called Big Machine Records.
Well,
her father literally bought her recording contract. Now, to be fair,
but even though Taylor Swift is talented, though, like she's a good songwriter. Yeah. No, I like her. Yeah.
So Trisha agrees with you. Yeah. She's all about music, but she's also for the same reason of keeping her day job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically
you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, as I was continuing my line of thought, So, and I'm well aware that a lot of kids have rich parents that drop a lot of money and they never go anywhere. So Taylor is sincerely talented.
Yes, exactly.
Then there's a second category of the karaoke shows like American Idol and The Voice. That's another route to basically. So Trisha is a full-time freelancer, but it wasn't worth it. Yeah. So Trisha's been doing music for about 10 years as a freelance musician, and she found it wasn't worth it. So she has a steady 9-to-5 now, which is great. So the second route to success I've seen is through a show like American Idol or The Voice. That's like how Kelly Clarkson became famous, right? She basically got famous.
Is amazing. She's so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And if that opportunity wasn't there for her, American Idol, we wouldn't have known her. Because she's not like rich like Taylor Swift or anyone like that.
Yeah.
So that's
those shows are not all bad because they discovered some really talented people.
Yeah.
There's some really great talent that you find on those shows. So it's not all bad, but there is some stuff that is not so great either on there that gets pushed forwards. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the third route, which is someone who's genuinely comes from, let's say a lower middle class or impoverished background and makes it. But those are really, really outliers. Like, I guess Bad Bunny would be an example of that.
Okay.
Right? I think he was like a grocery clerk or something like that before he hit it big time. So
I don't really know his music.
So he's one of the newer artists. So those stories do exist, but they're outliers. They're literally like 1 in a million.
Okay.
And see, the thing about a lot of people is that they look at these success stories and they think it's the norm. And they're unfamiliar with the concept of survivorship bias. That is, they only see the success stories and they assume that the success stories are the norm. They don't see all the failures.
I
And
know.
there are many failure, and because they didn't make it, you never hear about them. You don't hear their stories. You only hear the stories of the Lady Gagas and the Bad Bunnies who had the talent and they made it despite all the odds.
Yeah, yeah. People think it's easy, you know, they have no idea what they're getting themselves into, and they blindly go into it and they really think it's easy. And then once they see what it is, they take steps back because they realize it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to share my thoughts, but I'd like to share your thoughts on this question. For those who do go into the music industry with their eyes open after taking into account everything we just discussed, what do you think an artist would have to do or have to have in order to succeed in today's music business, Stephanie?
Like you're talking about willing to do anything kind of thing? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
like if if you and I both had a speech with a really talented artist and they still wanted to go into the music industry,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Knowing full well the risks, right? What would that person have to have in terms of their characteristics or their qualities for them to have a chance to succeed?
Well, it's not talent, that's for sure. It's
Mm-hmm.
everything else. You have to be someone who is not embarrassed at all. Uh, kind of a little bit dead inside, if you will.
Okay.
Like you have no sense of morals. Just like you just go full speed ahead and just you're willing to do whatever it takes to get
Like an OnlyFans girl.
yeah, whatever you gotta do, whatever you gotta do, that you'll succeed if you're willing
Okay.
to do that. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Have you ever
Okay.
seen? Did anybody see the series The Idol with The Weeknd? I saw that a couple of days ago. I was like, I just it's disgusting.
Did it
That's all I have.
did it but did it reflect your actual experiences from your career?
Not my
Okay.
personal experience,
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I heard it was really bad.
but it's bad. If you get a chance to watch this, it's you need a good stomach for it though. I know that this stuff goes on in the industry. I personally, thank God, did not have to deal with any of that because I chose not to deal with any of that. That's the thing. But this stuff goes on. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you guys have the stomach for it, watch it. It's really disgusting. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think I'll have to watch it now that you've recommended it. I mean, yes, disgusting, but I mean, if it reflects what actually happens, I think it'd be educational for anyone. I could
Yeah,
guess
and
what
kind of like, did
happens.
you guys ever see the movie with Mark Wahlberg, Rockstar? Did you see that
I've
too?
seen that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen
a little bit like that
that.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. That was based on a true story where Rob Halford had quit Judas Priest and they found a replacement for him. Some dude in the middle of America, singing in a Judas Priest cover band,
Yeah.
and that was interesting.
I didn't
Here are
know
my
based on
yeah
a true story though.
yeah
Wow.
it was based on a true story. They had to change it so they because otherwise they would have to pay the guy right for the
Yeah.
rights to the story. But anyways, so here are my thoughts. Going back to the David Bowie interview, he said that music is going to be as plentiful as water, and his premonition came true. Literally, you could get water anywhere like music anywhere for free, like water, like you can get from YouTube. Spotify has a free tier that you can get access to music if you're willing to listen to the commercials. So I think the question is, how does one become the Evian of music? Like Evian water, you're familiar with.
Yes.
Water is free, but for somehow they're able to actually get people to buy water. They're actually able to get people to buy something that you get anywhere for free. So how do they do it?
Yeah,
So my
Avian,
thought,
yeah, but the thing is, Avian is high quality water, right? That's the thing.
most people don't know
So
the difference
there's
between high quality water.
no. There's a difference.
Okay,
Okay, there's a difference. It tastes different from tap water. There's a big
okay,
difference. So
okay.
if you want to beat the Avian, which is like high quality
Hmm.
bottled water, which is
Hmm.
not cheap, you have to have actual talent.
Yeah.
And if you have talent, like you need to study. You
Hmm.
need to take some lessons with a coach. someone who knows what they're doing, like a vocal coach. You know, there's a lot of singers that just, they wake up one morning and they're like, oh, I'm going to record an album and put it out on Spotify. They have no vocal technique. They don't know what they're doing. Like, I'm sorry, where do you think this is going to go? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they end up getting vocal injuries because they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
You want to be avian, you have to study. You have to study.
Right. 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 But I think Avian, what they do really, really well is branding, right? They brand themselves to set themselves apart from, I guess, all the other, bottled water companies, because there's so many of them out there. And, they set themselves apart from your water filter that you could install at home
Yeah.
and basically get the same water. So I think that's the trick. I think an artist really has to brand themselves because, there a lot of people, they're going to get music from anywhere. So why should they come to you? So you have to be able to brand yourself as being different than everyone else. And I think a lot of artists, like I hang out at Threads a lot, and a lot of the artists are like, they have this attitude, well, music should be the number one thing. And I'm like, no, because people can get their music from anywhere. What makes you so special? You have to have people like you and be interested in you and want to follow you, right? So that's how you become the Evian of indie artists. That's my view anyways.
You have to put in a lot of money into marketing. Do you have that kind of money? Do you have that kind of money?
That's the trick, right?
Yeah,
but that's why you have a full-time job, so you have the money to invest, right?
Even at that, you have to come up with like a shtick, right? Mm-hmm. Like a sort of thing that's going to attract people to you, and it's not going to be your music. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what? People are not listening to music today. They can get it for free on YouTube, like you said. Nobody cares, okay? Mm-hmm. Nobody cares about you as an indie artist and what you're putting out. That's the truth. People don't care. So in order to attract an audience, you have to be willing to come up with like some sort of a gimmick, right? That's gonna make people want to watch you, like on social media or TikTok. We see that all the time. People with gimmicks on TikTok, and they gain a whole bunch of followers.
Yeah.
And really, they're musicians or whatever they do. They're not displaying anything of what they do in music, but they're doing everything else to grab attention.
Yeah. Trisha agrees with you.
Like a bunch of clowns, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, though, what's the point of that? Because even if you gain a following being a clown, you're not gaining a following based on your talent or your music. So what's the point? I don't know. I don't personally see a point to that.
You know what? There is one guy. I forget the name. There's one guy. I forget the name. His name's on the tip of my tongue, but he's actually pretty big. And he used to have this YouTube channel where he just do dumb shit. It was like a really extreme version of Mr. Bean. He do this really gross out humor, and he translated that into a singing career, right? He rebranded himself as a pop singer. And I can't remember. Hi Angela, nice to see you. His Instagram handle is Sushi Trash. Okay. I forget the name. Sushi Trash. Actually, let me look it up.
Okay.
Let me look it up. Sushi Trash. Let's see. What's his name? Sushi Trash. Joji. Right. This guy here. He's got 7 million followers on Instagram. And he had a YouTube channel
from his music. Is the guy making?
He does tours all over the world and they sell out. He's doing really well. So what he did, he literally did exactly as you described. He acted like a clown. He had his YouTube channel where he just did this gross out humor, and he didn't call himself Joji back then. He called himself something else, and it was just really disgusting humor, but really hilarious as well. And then he eventually translated that into a music career. And now that YouTube channel, it's still there, but it's archived. He doesn't add new content on it, right?
Okay.
So it worked for him.
Okay, well that worked for him. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I see your point. I mean, a lot of people act like ass clowns just to get attention, because they're desperate to get a following, so they could eventually hope that people will actually listen to their music, and maybe it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Who knows?
Most of the time it doesn't work though. Sometimes it
Yeah.
works, most of the time it doesn't. It's like winning the lottery. It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so is there anything else you wanted to chat about, Stephanie, or maybe we should answer? We should open the forum
Yeah,
up to questions from the
for
audience.
questions, sure.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions for me or Stephanie? There's always a lag between the what you and I are saying in the audience, because
Okay.
a lot of them are like overseas, so there's like
Oh, I
a
see.
lag of a few
Okay.
seconds. Okay, no one has any questions, so I think we'll just end this call.
Okay.
And what I'll do is oh, no questions. It was a good session. Thank you,
Oh,
guys.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Trisha, for showing up. And I've noticed that a lot of YouTubers have taken that route. They grow the following on YouTube doing other stuff and then transition into music. Yeah, exactly. Because it worked for Joji, and I think a lot of people are copying his example.
Okay.
So
But how many people
that's,
does it work for? That's the thing. Do we
yeah,
know?
I'm assuming not very much, not very many, but I mean, you know, they're investing their time, right? So if they want to invest their time, it's completely up to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that. And it was nice meeting
How
you.
do I save this video so I can share it with my
I
followers? How do I
will.
do?
What I'll do is it'll eventually save in my account, and what I could do is I could email it to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Okay. All
Okay.
right, guys. Thanks for showing up, and have a great day. Enjoy the week ahead. Take care.
Nice
Bye.
seeing you, Lee.